Gillingham will have looked at the third round results yesterday and know that anything is possible. Aston Villa will know that even for the biggest of reputations, so much can go wrong. It's the third round tie between Gillingham and Aston Villa, and our commentators David Pleat and, first of all, Peter Drury.
Thank you, Steve. For the first time in 5 years, the Priestfield is full and the white horse of Kent is rampant as a club which very much represents its county embraces its special day. Its team is without 4 regulars because of suspension, ineligibility and injury, so both the right back Stuart Lewis and centre-half Mark Bentley are playing out of their natural habitats. Captain Adam Miller and left-back John Nutter have both played at Wembley in FA Trophy finals, and Curtis Weston, as you heard, a minute or two of an FA Cup final. Last-minute changes for Villa. Gabriel Agbonlahor is called off sick, so young Nathan Delfonso makes his very first domestic first-team appearance. Martin O'Neill, though, is as good as his word and fields his strongest available side, albeit that also excludes 3 of his pre-Christmas back 4. In addition to Cuellar and Lawson, Luke Young is missing today with a tight hamstring. Nicky Shorey gets a game. Gareth Barry, another late-ish withdrawal. Gillingham's squad is stretched to the limit, so bar the goalkeeper, they have 6 teenagers on the bench, including the manager's 16-year-old son, Charlie Stimson. Proper English winter's day, proper English cup tie, beginning refreshingly with no fewer than 18 English footballers on the field. The referee, Keith Stroud, used to come from Gillingham, Dorset. He's in the place with the soft G today, Gillingham, Kent. And a special day it is too. 74 places between the teams. Pretty good conditions considering. David Pleat has led out a cup final side. What do you expect from this, David?
Well, it's going to be a difficult game for Aston Villa. The first goal, as always, is going to be vital because then the better technical players will be able to relax. Gillingham will certainly try and get in the faces of Villa, try and hustle early, stop them spraying the ball around. Just let's hope that the lower league side can give the big side a few problems.
Ashley Young was the player they were looking forward to visiting. Behind him today, Nicky Shorey playing at left full-back in place of Luke Young, the former Reading player. Hasn't had an awful lot of first-team action, but gets a chance today. And I should stress that these aren't made-up injuries or illnesses. Martin O'Neill has been as good as his word. He has picked the best team he has available. Agbonlahor was genuinely ill this morning. This is no convenient excuse to miss out on a nasty little cup tie like this. Nutter for Barcham, who scored all of Gillingham's goals up to now. Weston, the former cup finalist, caught on it but fouled by Sidwell.
With the absence of Agbonlahor, of course, Martin O'Neill has to adjust his system slightly. And it looks as though Milner's going to play more central with Delfonso, and Ashley Young we would expect to float from wing to wing.
Simon King, the Aston Villa supporter of days gone by, with the free kick aimed at Dennis Ollie, a player who you might just recall from a spell he had at Queen's Park Rangers some years ago. He has been giant killed in the past. He was in a Rangers team beaten by Vauxhall Motors. He also has thrived, as many of these players that Mark Stimson has brought out of non-league football. He's also thrived at that level of the game, with appearances in the FA Trophy final. Gillingham's form is good. They're unbeaten in their last 9 home games over 2.5 months. They've only been beaten here once in the league by Luton back in August. Colchester have knocked them out of both other cup competitions on this ground. But Villa away from home have also been top class recently. And here is Sidwell for the Premier League team. Gardner denied access to the box by Nutter. And this is Rio Coker. Protecting was Weston. It's on by the Irishman Mulligan. A nudge in the back of Jackson by Curtis Davis.
That'll be an interesting duel, the tall Davis against the sprightly, smaller Jackson, who has done very well here since coming from non-league at Rushden and Diamonds. There's the challenge.
Steve Sidwell is one of 3 or 4 in the Villa side who've played on this ground before. Him, of course, in his Reading days. But, a couple of wins and a draw here for Reading. Steve Sidwell. At the time in particular when Gillingham reached their highest peak, Championship football 5 or 6 years back. Sorted out by Petrov, an exchange with Young. Gardner closed down by Barcham.
Villa 4-3-3. Gardner, Petrov and Sidwell making up the centre field.
Rio Coca on by Delfonso, who's played 5 games in Europe this year, but who plays in senior English domestic football for the first time today. Much vaunted player, Birmingham born. Won by Knight, aimed at Milner, and gathered by the veteran goalkeeper Simon Royce. 37 years old, he's played at Premier League level briefly for Charlton and a whole season for Leicester. One of those who's reached a sufficiently venerable age that he isn't expected in for training every day. Wasn't there on Friday when I was, to watch these boys limber up. Well, Coca let it bounce, but Zat Knight was across to sort it out. King. Weston. Mulligan. In by Weston. And put to lay a little nervously by Mickey Shorey.
Excellent covering by Shorey there. Looked as though Barcham might just get in.
That's his cross. Cleared by the huge Zat Knight. Royce rather toying with Delfonso. And he's going to have to get back into goal quickly. Shorey didn't have the space to try anything extravagant. And Bentley, who's filling in at centre-half today, with the header out. Gillingham had a very expensive match just before Christmas against Brentford, where their first-choice centre-half, Gary Richards, got into some strife, which has caused him to receive a retrospective suspension. The captain, Barry Fuller, was sent off that day, the regular right-back, and he's suspended also.
The pitch is just a little bit bobbly. The groundsman's done a wonderful job, really, with the covers and his eye on the pitch over the last few difficult days. There is some give in the ground, but it's a little bit bobbly. And the players will just have to be wary. They'll need a good first touch.
Ollie climbing with Shorey. Young. Great job being done overnight by the head groundsman here at the Priestfield, John Plummer. Didn't sleep all evening. He was up every 15 or 20 minutes, strolling over the pitch. It was covered by 3 layers of matting, and I believe it takes a spike to a depth of 3 or 4 inches. But still hardish. Shorey's free kick. King with a good rise and a firm header away. Barcham. Well-timed tackle by Sidwell. And Gardner. He's got clear of Nutter. It's another very good tackle by King. And Nutter away for Barcham. Just a reminder, by the way, to viewers with HD TV that if you're watching us on FreeSat, you can enjoy this match on ITV1 in high definition by pressing your red button.
Gillingham's midfield 4 will have to work very hard to counter Villa's threesome in the centre. Ollie is started on the right. He'll have to push in and help Weston and Miller. Miller's a good ball player, played very well at Stevenage, had some league experience, and he's the main playmaker in this side, number 14. And Andy Barcham on the left, he'll be working too.
Down by Mulligan, and fighting for the ball was Jackson. He was fighting a little too ferociously at the back of Zat Knight. Simeon Jackson's a player with a very interesting history. He has been via Jamaica and Canada to Rushden and Diamonds, had trials at Manchester United and Manchester City. He's Gillingham's top scorer, though, with 11 so far this season. They're just tucked in on the shoulder of the playoff contenders in League Two. Rio Coker, captain for Villa today. Gardner. Delfonso. Seen by Mulligan. Jackson's pass worked out, luckily for Bentley, who's stuck out his chest and crossed halfway and asked Ollie to chase. And Ollie, if nothing else, is quick. But Shorey is canny. He's come back to Weston. And finally away by Davis.
That might be a little pressure point that Gillingham can use. Ollie's pace against Nicky Shorey on the left-hand side there. It was superb play coming out of defence by Bentley, the centre-back, showed a lot of confidence. And Gillingham will need that confidence, particularly in these early stages. They shouldn't be phased. They've got a very good home record and a very bright manager.
Petrov. And by Milner. Ashley Young running at Stuart Lewis, who stayed with him well, and that will do him the power of good. 21-year-old Stuart Lewis, former Tottenham trainee who followed Mark Stimson from Stevenage, and who has to have the game of his life today. Milner. Gillingham ball.
Stuart Lewis, very good athlete, terrific engine, likes to play in front of his two centre-backs as an interceptor and anticipator. Playing it right back today, but he's got a really good engine, very athletic boy. I signed him actually at Tottenham. He came from Arsenal. He was there as a young boy, and he thought he might get more opportunities at Tottenham.
And what did he call himself? The Ginger Cafu.
Yeah, he's an honest player, that's for sure. Hopefully he'll get forward like Cafu. But his first task would be to stop the brilliant Ashley Young.
There's Mark Stimson, who very much like his opposite number today, Martin O'Neill, has taken his management career step by step through non-league and now into the lower leagues, and he is ambitious to follow Martin O'Neill still further. Uses him as a bit of a role model career-wise. Lewis with the header out. Weston. In by Shorey. Touch from Delfonso was good. Tackle from Lewis was certainly meant on Milner, and now Jackson can run. So Knight closed him off.
Neat play by Villa to get out of trouble.
Over the top by Petrov, seen by Bentley. Highish foot from Milner, and a free kick in favour of Lewis.
Just noticed there that Brad Friedel was a little bit hesitant to kick that ball first time, and he just rolled it out to full-back. There you see Lewis going in. Certainly is a brave boy.
Lewis comes out of it okay. James Milner, birthday today, 23. James Milner today. And with Gareth Barry missing, and with Aston Villa's abject recent record in the FA Cup, he is actually the only player in the Villa side today who has won an FA Cup tie with Aston Villa. Since they reached the final in 2000, Villa have been knocked out in the third round 6 years in 7. In fairness to them, 4 of those 6 occasions have been against Manchester United. King closed down by the busy Delfonso.
Great opportunity for the young local boy, taking Agbon Lahore's place today. Not quite as quick as Agbon Lahore, but a tidy footballer. Still Youth Cup age. Scored a goal recently against Arsenal in the FA Youth Cup, a game that Arsenal won 3-2. But Martin's going to use him, I'm sure, and it's interesting to see that he's in the team today, whereas Harewood is on the touchline, so it just gives you an idea of Martin's estimation of the boys' progress.
He scored 5 goals en route to the Youth Cup semi-final last year. Oh, Miller got into trouble with Petrov. Here's Milner, here's Petrov, here's Milner! 1-0 Villa! Knife through butter. Splendidly sharp exchange. off the back of a sad error from the Gillingham skipper, Adam Miller.
Took an awful bobble, didn't it, as the ball went to Miller. I'd said about that earlier on. Had a problem controlling the ball. It was a soft ball, really. It was a poor ball to play from his centre-back. And Villa took full advantage. Lovely side-foot goal, didn't power it, just placed it into the corner.
It's taken 13 minutes for the Premier League giant to break through here in the person of James Milner on his 23rd birthday, with his first ever goal for Aston Villa and for Martin O'Neill. And you can see how much he is pumped up for this tie. Petrov took a clatter in all of that, but seems okay to carry on. Nutter, and Gillingham have it to chase now, and they've given it away again to Gardner. Milner, worrying King, and penetrating the penalty area, but Nutter has made good his ground. Bounced off Young. Milner's not sure if he would have been called offside, and so couldn't play it, and eventually was deemed offside. James Milner's first FA Cup goal since he got one for Newcastle against Stoke last January on what was a very notable night. You may remember Newcastle thumped Stoke that night on the evening that Kevin Keegan returned.
Well, Gillingham must learn their lesson. Nutter got caught there, and Villa might have had a second. We just got to be careful about overplaying.
Here goes Barcham. And Friedel grabbed it at the near post.
Good bit of pace by Barcham there. Usually plays on the right. Rio Coker, captain today, just finding it difficult to get with him. Didn't want to foul him. Friedel caught it well.
Petrov, beyond Alfonso and indeed beyond King.
True test this of Gillingham's character. Yellow card.
Ashley Young isn't moving well, which is a worry for Villa folk. King caught him on the back of the shin. Oh yeah, not a nice one. Moving okay, but Simon King, as an Aston Villa supporter, has not done his club a favour there. Barcham, Nutter, aimed up at Mulligan, out by Curtis Davis. Mulligan battling to win it back and winning a free kick from Nigel Rio-Coker, and Gillingham really have to maximise these.
Absolutely, they've got to avoid the height of the two centre-backs, Davis and Knight. If they can run them away, make some space for someone coming in from behind.
John Nutter, the left full back, has a well-tutored left boot. And here's Nutter's delivery, headed out by Gardner. Forward again by Lewis. Miller. Found the way out to Weston. Ollie. Weston.
Tidy play by Gillingham, but they've just got to play the longer ball after a succession of shorter balls.
Milner with Rio-Coker going outside of him, and Barcham tackling him. Nutter. Simeon Jackson.
Good play.
Weston. Up by Knight. Young shaken off it by Curtis Weston.
Determined play by Ashley Young. Still somewhat lightweight, but a good worker for the team. He's not only good in possession, but he grafts, always seeking the ball, always trying to retrieve the ball when colleagues lose the ball. Good team player.
His clearance by Rio-Coker. Tom Nutter, a man who grew up in Berkshire and played in a county cup match against Lancashire, where he was spotted by a scout. He signed on as a trainee at Blackburn Rovers. So his professional career began.
Aerial balls quite comfortable for the tall Curtis Davies and Zach Knight. Gillingham just got to try and work the ball. I think the best bet may be to get into wide positions. They've had a fair amount of possession, but not thrustful, not at this stage. They've got to think of how they can get round the back of the Villa defence, and it may be best to go into wide positions. Barcham is very progressive on the left-hand side and busy and bustling, and on the other side, Ollie's got the pace. Can they get them in the game?
Milner. Petrov, who played a leading role in the scoring of the goal. All that James Milner scored is Aston Villa's first ever on this ground. These teams have met only twice before, home and away, in the 1970-71 season. They shared a campaign in the 3rd division. They played out a goalless draw on this ground. Miller. Monaghan, nice exchange. Turn back for Ollie! Big chance. Flag actually was up. Flag was up, wouldn't have counted.
Intelligent ball by Mulligan. He didn't know the flag was up at the time. He played the 1-2 and he got forward well. Did well to pick out Ollie. That's a promising movement for Gillingham. Give them some heart.
Dennis Ollie, whose only goal this season has come against Accrington Stanley, and who's been out injured for the last 3 months before returning against Wycombe last Sunday, when Gillingham played really well against the League Two leaders, and were a little bit unfortunate not to get more than the score draw they did achieve here. Gardner taken from behind by Miller.
Both Gillingham's central midfield players like to go forward. Neither has got great defensive elements in their game, and it could be a problem when Sidwell starts bursting forward.
Oh, Milner's back pass, and Jackson could be onto it here. And it was clear to the referee that Zach Knight took the ball and only the ball. Jackson still seated, plenty of Gillingham supporters off their seats. Miller charging through, bit of oomph in the game now.
Well, there's a really reckless back pass that put Zach Knight in trouble. I think he did get the ball cleanly. We'll have another opportunity in a second. But you saw the danger of Jackson there, the pace of Jackson going through the centre.
And by Rio Coca, and away by Bentley, the club captain. Say my first impression, like yours, David, was that Zach Knight did tackle cleanly.
Would have been a crucial moment, because if he didn't get his timing spot on, it would have been a sending off.
And there's the man in question, and here is the challenge in question. First, the back pass in question, which was a dreadful one. Jackson straining for an excellent tackle from Knight. And a very good decision, therefore, by the referee.
I think Milner will think twice about his passing back. They've got to play safely on this type of pitch. It's not the kindest. It's not the smooth bowling green that Villa usually have in the Premiership.
Well, this is the one Martin O'Neill really wants. It's missing from his set as player and manager. Extraordinary career of trophy wins. Dennis Ollie, he's taken that well. He's got over the challenge of Rio Coca, and he's got a free kick millimetres from the edge.
Well, interesting. Ollie using his pace to come across the field. It was a block. Certainly was a foul, there's no question about that. He stepped in front, stopped his run. I think it was just outside. An opportunity here for a dead ball kicker. It could be Miller. He's the captain today, Rio Coca, taking over the armband from Gareth Barry.
And of course, the man who was captain the cup final side. He wore the armband for West Ham at Cardiff in 2006. He's now going to be the last brick at the extreme of the wall, which is an extensive one being built by Brad Friedel. Don't be surprised to see the Gillingham captain Adam Miller have a go at this right-footed, or the left full-back John Nutter left-footed.
I have seen Nutter score goals for Stevenage from set plays.
Lewis is the player with his back to goal.
The crucial thing will be if Mr. Stroud gets them back the full 10 yards. They do have possibilities here. Will Villa sit someone on the line and come off at the last second just to try and intimidate the kicker? They've got to look for rebounds. That's absolutely vital. This could be a real scrap.
Miller! Off the wall and behind. He certainly caught it true.
Just changed the ball a shade.
One way or another, the skipper's in the thick of the action. It's going to be his corner. Berksham, and behind by Curtis Davis.
Only Delfonso out of the box for Villa. Petrov shielding the near post in a very important position. Don't have a lot of height, Gillingham.
Miller once more. Friedel got a hand on it, and Ollie can let it go behind. Sustained pressure now from the League Two team.
They're crowding into that 6-yard box. Very difficult for Friedel in that situation.
Miller for a third time, and Friedel has hold of it. Signs that the contest is very much alive. Friedel's goal for a 2 or 3 minute spell there under siege. Jackson. Another free kick. This time against Curtis Davis.
Well, this is good for Gillingham. They're breaking up Villa's rhythm. They're getting in their faces. The crowd are getting behind them. And this is the moments when they've got to try and capitalise on that little bit of pressure.
The manager said, and he was right, that they would have their spells in the game. It was a case of making those count. Same co-conspirators over the set piece. Lewis, Nutter, Miller.
They just changed the direction and then...
And it came last off Jackson.
A good play. I said earlier on, seen a lot of Mark Stimpson's teams at Stevenage. They just have a little bit of imagination from their set plays, a little bit of creativity in their play. Smallest player on the field, or one of the smallest, Simeon Jackson there.
Let's get down to the pitch side. Ned Bolting is with Scott Barrett, the Gillingham assistant manager.
Yeah, Scott, a good spell of pressure. This 3 corners, 2 free kicks. You need to make this pay, don't you?
Yeah, it's a nice little spell for us, but without that end result at the minute. But you know, all credit to the lads. They're not overawed at all, and the only the difference between the two teams is that little bit of quality. 1 chance, 1 goal for Villa. So we're hoping we can just step up a little bit and get the rewards that the lad's good play deserves.
Plenty of credit goes to Stuart Lewis as well, the way he's playing.
Yeah, he's filling in for us at right back. Obviously, our right back suspended, so yeah, he's doing well. But the rest of the lads are holding their own, and it's looking good at the minute.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay.
Bartram again for Gillingham, taking on Rio Coker, whose work is cut out, but he's got his work done. Nigel Rio Coker, I guess like his opposite number today, is a fill-in right full-back. It's not his natural habitat. He was in a West Ham side that won home and away against Gillingham in the championship year of 2004-05. Even scored a goal on this ground for Wimbledon, even further back than that. Nigel Rio Coker
has been converted to a full-back in the Villa group. Was a very all-action midfield player, Rio Coker, with great energy. This Villa do have three very experienced defenders out: Queller and Boomer, and of course Larson, who's so valuable at set plays. So they've
huge size difference there, David. Look at that for little and large.
Yeah, he wants it on the floor, that's for sure, Jackson.
Bentley's free kick came out to Weston. Miller. King. Nutter. Coaxed in towards Mulligan. Up got Ollie. Safely out by Shorey. Had a chance to point you at upcoming attractions today from ITV Sport. We have our FA Cup third round highlights programme tonight on ITV1 from 10:45. And also tonight, change of sport, the Guinness Premiership is on ITV4, highlights from all the action there this weekend at 6:30. ITV.com/football is our website, where we have a forum where you can contribute. Half an hour gone at the Priestfield, on the banks of the River Medway, representing the Medway towns here: Gillingham, Chatham, Rochester, Rainham, Strood. This is a big catchment area. The town itself has a population of about 100,000, but the surrounding area, about 250,000. It's fallen on quite hard times in recent years since the closure of the Chatham Dockyard. And the football team does mean a lot to them down here. Royce through the poor clearance, Petrov onto it, Gardner. Rio Coker, Gardner. D'Alfonso looking to turn. Oh, Nutter sorted him out well. And there's a Villa throw.
You have to admire Gillingham, the way they've responded. They're playing their football, they're trying to pass the ball, they're not just humping it forward, trying to work the ball before they release the front man.
Sidwell. Ashley Young. There's nothing quite like the superstar amongst the visiting superstars having a moment like that on the lower league ground to raise the spirits of the underdogs.
Well, I think Ashley Young will genuinely point to a bobble.
And it was a bobble that contributed also to the Aston Villa goal.
Yeah, it was an awful pass in the first place towards Adam Miller. He had little chances, that ball bounced up. Gillingham massively contributing towards Villa's goal, although Milner placed it perfectly. There'll be further mistakes.
First handling offence was Shorey's. But to Martin O'Neill's concern and Gillingham's great credit, they've settled well since going behind. Mulligan throwing his head in and Davis throwing his boots in. Miller jumping with Sidwell. Weston winning the loose ball and holding off Sidwell. Bursting into Gardner, who's fouled him.
Very busy Weston in the centre of the field there. They're doing well, Miller and Weston between them. Both got ability on the ball.
He was the man who replaced Dennis Wise for the last minute of Millwall's cup final against Manchester United. and make a real proper contribution here today. Notter's free kick. Out by Rio Coca. Taken by Miller. Looking to exchange with Jackson. Back out again to Nutter. Lashed in at Mulligan. And then carried away by Rio Coca, with whom Weston stayed well. Petrov.
Gillingham have got to get back. They've got players short.
Spread for Milner. Out by Bentley, and now Gillingham can counter once more. Mulligan. Ollie. Lunging tackle from Curtis Davis.
And he'll get the yellow card for that. Third of the game gone. Gillingham have had more possession than Villa. Just a danger that Gillingham can get caught with a neat passing. Too many people forward at times and may just get caught on the counter. That's what they have to be wary of. But they're certainly showing their stripes. They're doing really well, Gillingham.
Ten minutes to play until half-time, just more. John Nutter has come over from left to right to swing this in. Flipped away by Davis and kept alive by Brad Friedel, who has happy memories of this ground. Blackburn celebrated a promotion at the Priestfield when he was there, and they're in the Championship. They've got it all sewn up. They came here and drew in May of 2001. He netted a 90th minute penalty from Marlon King, who was a Jill at that time. Here's Jackson, who's taken it away, but only because he committed a foul on that night.
Good decision by the referee. Caught him from behind in his determination to hustle the tall central defender.
Weston's back pass sorted out by Royce. Lewis with the throw. Mulligan, then Ollie. Out by Petrov. Lewis. End up at Jackson. Great energy in the Gillingham side. There's a clash of heads there and bodies. Miller has stayed down, and he's not the only one.
The referee reacted very quickly there, as indeed did the two physios running onto the field very quickly. Obvious head injury.
So Petrov, I think, is the player down for Aston Villa. Oh yes, Miller's gone right over the top of him. His knee has caught him high up, possibly in the face, and then he himself has come a long way down and jarred the lower back.
All the Gillingham players quick to go to the Mark Stimson. Maybe having thoughts that just at times they're playing one pass too many. Delfonso, so far, not made a major contribution, but Martin O'Neill will be boosting his confidence there on the touchline. It's not been an easy ride for Villa, that is for sure. Here we see the goal. Very well placed by Milner. The only real effort that Simon Royce, the experienced goalkeeper, has had to cope with, and indeed failed to cope with because it was such a good shot. He's had no other efforts to save.
Petrov receiving attention. It's turning out to be a really tough call, this, for Aston Villa. At least it's not the nasty big one. They, as I mentioned, have been knocked out at this stage of the competition in 4 of the last 7 years by Manchester United. Goals from Van Nistelrooy 1 year, Scholes another, Larsson and Solskjaer another, Ronaldo and Rooney last year. They have fallen early to some pretty major names. But they're ahead here, albeit they're not looking any prettier.
That's an interesting ball, that crossfield ball from Nutter towards Ollie. Ollie's got the leap on Shorey. You can get him to the deeper areas. If you can get him in at the back post, Ollie might have some success there. The only fear for Gillingham would be that they open up the midfield a little bit when they go forward, but credit them for their attitude to the game. They're not phased, and they're looking after the ball well when they get possession.
Petrov, Milner, aimed in at Delfonso! Might have just about made it safe 5 minutes before half-time.
Good chance, great ball. Milner has time, delivers it beautifully over the central defender. Bentley, Delfonso may have had time to cushion the ball and place it, take a leaf out of Milner's book perhaps. Martin's not too happy.
Miller, Mulligan, Lewis, caught on it by the ever-eager Milner. He was involved for Leeds, James Milner, when they were drawn against Gillingham in the fourth round of the FA Cup 5 years ago. Didn't play on the original game here, and that was the big good Leeds side towards the top of the Premier League. Gillingham took them to a replay at Ellen Road, which he played in and which Leeds won. But it was 5 years ago this weekend that Gillingham last invited Premier League visitors here for an FA Cup tie. It was Charlton, and they beat them. There's Paul Scally, the Gillingham chairman, who bought the club for a quid or so when it was in administration in June 2005. 1995, I beg your pardon, 1995, and since then Gillingham have had the highest highs in their history, as well as one or two pretty low lows.
Another difficult ball played into Miller, short ball. It is back to the opposition goal. You've got to get on the half turn if you're going to receive those balls from your back players.
Given away to Jackson, who really had nowhere to go. Shorey's won it back. Sidwell, Milner.
Gillingham continue to make it difficult, stopping any sign of a rhythm from the Villa players.
Milner's worked it wide well for Young. He can run again at Lewis. And aim it in at Delfonso, repelled by Bentley, chased up by Sidwell, sorted out by Weston. And taken away here by Barcham. Jackson. Nicely done by Nutter. Weston. Lewis.
I think that's the type of ball they've got to play a little bit more.
Davis got into trouble. Mulligan, Jackson, away by Zat Knight.
That was a good ball by Lewis, a more progressive ball. A ball to try and turn the Villa flank defender there on the left, Shorey. They're playing good football, Gillingham, but it's a little bit too short at times. They need to play a more thrusting ball.
Ollie. Up by Gardner. Bentley got ahead of Delfonso. Miller.
Lovely touch, Miller. Very skillful player.
He looks a good player, doesn't he?
Yes, he's a good player. He's got skill.
Barcham. Miller. competitive player as well. Nutter. Hungrily won by Rio Coca.
That's gone for a throw-in. Villa were hoping that that might be out for a corner, but it's a chance for Gillingham to pen Villa in here. Really press the ball. See if they can get an opportunity just before half-time for an effort at Friedel's goal.
Nicely done by Miller again, through by Weston. Scraped out by Petrov. King. Lewis. Ollie. Gillingham's throw. Bit of momentum now. Last few seconds before half-time. Handball against Weston, which removes that momentum. Dressing up day, special day for Gillingham folk. There's a little Dalmatian there, being held by Cruella. Ashley Young. Brilliantly done. Skipped away from one challenge, but didn't get much zest behind the shot.
Yeah, first signs of the magic of Ashley. Very clever with his dummy and not so forceful with his shot, and Royce will be grateful for the opportunity to get his hands warm.
Milner. Alfonso. Gardner hurling his frame in, but not applying a touch. There's just going to be one additional minute at the end of the half. Gives Gillingham one further chance to attack.
It was a good ball. Only Gardner getting into the box. He's playing from the right side of the Villa midfield.
Mulligan for Barcham. He has nowhere to go. Aston Villa have won their last 4 away games in the Premier League at Arsenal, Everton, West Ham and Hull. The last 2 of those by late own goals, but they've established an early lead here. A lead which has, since it was established, been well tested by Gillingham. It is a cup tie which is very much still alive. Very much still alive. Really watchable football match down in the Medway Towns, and one which gives Martin O'Neill cause for thought. James Milner on his birthday cause for celebration, having scored the 13th minute goal which divides the sides. But all folk Gillingham cause for hope as we head towards the second half. And their manager Mark Stimpson is with Ned Bolting now.
Mark, you're very much still in this, aren't you?
Yes, we've got a decent account of ourselves so far. Disappointed with the goal given away. We tried to play out from the back. I don't think the pitch helped us there, but full credit to the boys. Since then, we've put them on the back foot, and we're going to have another go second half.
No need to make any changes, you shouldn't imagine.
No, not at the moment. Everyone's doing their job, and we've just got to take care with our set pieces and hopefully get something from them.
Well played, thanks, Mark.
You think anyone's spirits are at all dampened? Think again. Still having fun. Gillingham dropped out of the top 2 divisions in 2005. This is their first third-round tie in the FA Cup since then. They've got a good cup record on this ground, though, over recent years. They are in their dreams, looking to cling on to that. They are unbeaten in their last 6 FA Cup ties here at the Priestfield, since Chelsea were the last to beat them here in the 4th round in 2001. That 6-game run includes a draw against Leeds, then of the Premier League, a victory over Charlton, then of the Premier League. They've beaten 3 Premier League teams here since 2000, all of which, oddly enough, have fallen on hard times since. Bradford and Sheffield Wednesday and Charlton Athletic. The FA Cup sponsored by E.ON. 3rd round weekend. Saturday was good, Sunday is cold, but Gillingham are making it another very watchable afternoon of cup football. unorthodox kickoff involving Steve Sidwell. Gillingham kicking left to right in the second half, and that is their favoured way of playing towards the Raynham end. As a Villa attack, it used to be called the Town end, behind which is the Brian Moore stand. Weston, Jackson, Ollie tried to free Mulligan. Knight is firm favourite here, and Friedel will come to gather. And everything that was said at half-time about Gillingham, David Pleat, was essentially more of the same, and I presume you concur with that.
More of the same, but a little bit more of a thrusting ball. That was a better movement there. They played one or two short passes and then played the ball down the sides, behind the full-backs. They keep in the four up the field when they attack, so they've got to try and put pressure on and try and turn the two tall central defenders. I think they're playing well, Gillingham, but they mustn't overplay. They've got to look for that penetrating ball a little bit more.
Shorey's throw for Villa. Lewis met it. Miller. Scoop forward for Jackson. Nudge back for Weston. Ollie is wide. Mulligan through the middle, and Weston lost his footing at the key moment. For Delfonso.
I certainly think at half-time Martin O'Neill might have had more to say than Mark Stimson. He would have been quite pleased with the amount of possession that Gillingham had and the way that they had to cope with the bigger names from the Premiership. They just need to put a little bit more bite and a little bit more thrust into the game, and if they can get that, there could be a big shock here.
Well, a lot of their training session on Friday morning, Gillingham, was spent finishing, in the knowledge, I think, that they would get a moment, and they had to make that moment count. Jackson was at the forefront of that session, of course. King. Bartram, who didn't train on Friday morning because he was sorting out his paperwork for the longer-term move from Spurs. Nutter. Closed down by Gardner, who could free Milner here. Alfonso one way, Young the other. Milner's gone for goal, and Royce has denied him and will fall on the loose ball.
There's the danger for Gillingham, just emptying that midfield a little bit. And if they make a mistake, they've got the two midfield players out of position. The right back's gone forward, he's not on the cover. Milner's taken advantage to burst through the middle.
And a half-decent save from Gillingham's veteran keeper. Bartram for Jackson. And Bartram on the dash again. Aiming it in towards Ollie. And scooped away a little twitchily by Zat Knight. They have got pace in their side, the Gills. And they're attacking the Raynham end as they love to do. Jackson. Nutter. Bartram. Toying with Rio Coca. Bit of confidence about them now. Mulligan's foul on Knight.
When they get into wide positions, they don't just give the ball away, Gillingham, with that big hoof into the middle. They try and work the ball, trying to play into Mulligan's feet in the corner of the box. Zat Knight knows the point of staying on his feet, and Mark Stimson knows also how disappointing sometimes you have to accept the referee's decisions.
Stimson, who was given his league debut by David Pleat at Tottenham in the lead up to the 1987 FA Cup final, when David was resting one or two of his star names. went on to play for Newcastle and Portsmouth for rather longer, as well as Southend and Gillingham.
Yeah, he was a fine passing fullback, was Mark Simpson, and it's reflected in the teams that he's managed. Been very successful, done his apprenticeship at Grays and at Stevenage, ready for league management, and now he's proving himself here.
Foul on Rio Coca. There was bound to be an offence somewhere in there, and the Gillingham manager's having to swallow another decision. But you sense he's enjoying the occasion. His team certainly haven't let him down, whatever happens from now on in. Aston Villa attacking their 1,000+ supporters behind that goal. Comfortable take for Royce.
With the height advantage of Knight and Davis up there, desperate for a good delivery, and that was disappointing by Shorey.
Simon Royce is a goalkeeper who's been on the wrong end of a big cup story. He was the Leicester keeper who let in that goal from the famous for a day Roy Essendo of Wycombe Wanderers. Ollie. Nutter. Mulligan! That was brave from Knight, who might reasonably complain to the referee that Mulligan's foot was very high.
They've just got to get the crosses away from Davis and Knight. They eat up the high balls. Not a bad delivery by Nutter, but there's no way Mulligan is going to out-jump the tall centre-half, and he's straining there to try and fight him physically.
Miller's corner, on by Mulligan. Young didn't get there, and Jackson shinned it wide.
Well, they get the bodies around the goalkeeper, don't they? Don't make it easy for Villa to get the ball away. By the same token, I don't think they've got a man in the Cascarino mould here today who's going to go in and out-jump people and head under that bar.
For a lower league side, they're not especially tall, not especially muscular. A nice football team. They don't have that battering ram centre-forward, a la Cascarino, or even that battering ram centre-half, a la Steve Bruce, who is perhaps the other standout notable name from Gillingham's relatively recent history. In by Young. King got up well against Alfonso then. Dodging for Weston. Milner. Shorey. Young. Milner. Alfonso.
Didn't quite get hold of that. That's the second time he'll have been disappointed with himself, perhaps. First was a good opportunity for Milner's fine ball in the first half. Milner once again, who swivels and puts that ball in. Never really had a good angle to direct a header at goal, though.
Petrov away from Ollie, and that ball has very nearly hit us.
Well, if you'd like to keep that, Peter, autograph it. I'm sure one day it will be...
I've got the match ball here.
You have.
There we are.
You're a very kindly man, Peter. We can get on with the game.
King. Forward by Nutter, chased by Jackson. And the flag is up against him.
I think Villa would like to see Ashley Young get in the game a little bit. Seems stranded here out on the left-hand side. We thought that that might be an important duel. Young Stuart Lewis against Ashley Young. Well, Ashley Young hasn't had a really good supply of the ball in the game, as Villa have found it difficult to get a rhythm.
Has been on this ground before, Ashley Young. He was the precocious young teenager left on Watford's bench by Ray Lewington 3 or 4 years back. But boy, he's come on since then. Up by Miller. Now Jackson, time to turn. Mulligan ahead of him. And Knight with A back pass that complicates things for Brad Friedel. Mulligan's not given this up, but Friedel is calm and sorted the situation out well.
Very good covering by Zach Knight.
Well won by... Oh, not well won by Mulligan. I think he was offside. His assistant, John Flynn.
Maybe pondering substitutions, but I doubt it at this stage.
It's a very, very young substitutes bench, including there on the left-hand side his son Charlie, 16. He was born in Newcastle while Dad was playing up there in the early 1990s. His dad won a game at Port Vale the day before his son was born. Here's Delfonso. Clever feet, and he set it back for Sidwell, whose feet weren't so clever. Saying about Charlie Stimson, his dad was in a Newcastle side that included Gavin Peacock. And of course, Gavin Peacock played for Gillingham under his father, Keith. So the Stimsons could be the second father-son Gillingham combination. There they are, dad and boy. The temptation to throw him on for his debut on a day like this must be huge. But Mark certainly didn't want Charlie to get any special treatment today. On by Mulligan. Now Jackson has got goal side. Simeon Jackson! 1-1! And Kent is in Carnival!
Wonderfully well taken goal by a goal scorer, for sure. His record at Rushden and his record here has been first class. It looked as though he might get an opportunity in the first half when Knight just got a toe to the ball, but on that occasion, didn't he turn well, raced away from Knight and hit it unerringly into that top corner. Terrific goal, Friedel no chance, the pure pace and power of the shot has beat him all ends up.
A football match that contains two cracking goals. Milner's was beautifully placed. Simeon Jackson's for Mark Stimson was belted in, and the cup tie becomes a belter. Canadian international for the chairman of Gillingham, who's had a few big days here during his reign, but who is relishing this one, and who, by the way, wouldn't say no to a replay.
No, not indeed. He'd have to fly in from Dubai again. He now lives out there. Come in for this game today.
And you can't say Gillingham haven't been reasonable value for that.
No, they've had a lot of the play, a lot of possession. My worry for them, as shade was, that they weren't progressive enough, and also they might just empty the midfield a little bit too early, because both their midfield players like to play on the ball. Neither is a holding midfield player as such, but Villa have got to respond.
Mulligan held off by Davis. And look at that, where he's run into the crowd, and such was the vigour of the celebration, and indeed the pile of players that they've caused genuine problem. There's the groundsman there, John Plummer, putting it all back together again. Young for Villa.
Well, not for the first time, Ashley Young is a little bit unfortunate, gets a really bad bobble. We spoke about it in the first minutes of this game. We suggested there may be problems. There certainly was a problem for the goal, the first goal. No problems with divots or bobbles over that one. That's clean and precise.
And that is the Raynham end. That is a chairman who loves the limelight. A goalkeeper who's seen a lot of what the cup has to offer, and whose goal may be under threat now from Gardner, and Alfonso scooped away by Lewis.
Players have the inspiration now of the crowd, but they have warmed the crowd on this bitterly cold morning. They have really given the crowd a hope here.
Gardner with no way past Nutter.
Interesting to see if Martin O'Neill...
Day for superheroes. Sorry, David, you were saying?
I'm talking about other superheroes. I'm just wondering whether Harewood would get on the field, you know, just to give them a bit of muscle, Villa.
He also, as it happens, has an extraordinary scoring record against Gillingham, Marlon Harewood. So if you believe in that sort of thing, horses for courses, Marlon Harewood has a wonderful record on this ground and against these opponents.
Meanwhile, Shorey has to make sure that Knight and Davies get near this ball coming in.
There is Harewood. He still waits, well wrapped up. Shorey with the free kick, headed out by Mulligan. As far as Petrov. Shorey. Proper cup tie. D'Alfonso. Petrov. Foul on Ollie. Let's get down pitch side. Ned's with Scott Barrett, the assistant manager of Gillingham. Ned.
Scott, this is game on now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I said in the first half, you know, we were hoping that Hardwick would get some results, and great finish from Simeon Jackson put us right back in it. We've just got to make sure we stay tight for the next 10-15 minutes, because you know what it's like. A lot of teams concede when they've just scored a goal, so it's important for us now.
The way Jackson's been playing, it's no less than he deserves as well, is it?
Yeah, and he's a good honest player, and as you can see, he's a good finisher.
When are you going to make some changes?
When we need to.
Thanks.
What a good answer. Simeon Jackson, star of the show at the moment. Name potentially up in lights. Only one player in history has previously scored a goal for Gillingham against Aston Villa, and he went on to be a cup winner. He was a left full back. His name was David Peach, who went on to Southampton and played in Laurie McMenemy's Annus Mirabilis of 1976. Scored against Villa at Villa Park for Gillingham in the third.
Villa just beginning to get a little bit calmer and composed after that terrific flurry by Gillingham at the start of this half.
Young's free kick. Royce got a punch on it. Good protection offered by Barcham, who then ran into Petrov and could expect to see a card for that. And he does.
Just had his loan extended. Tottenham Hotspur youngster, one of a group hoping that he may get an opportunity perhaps next season if he has a good year for Gillingham.
He scored the goals in the first and second rounds, which earned this tie against Martin O'Neill's side, and you can see how animated he is now. White-faced. In by Shorey. Petrov. Out by Mulligan. Jackson for Barcham. And clattered away by Petrov, but it's a free kick for Gillingham.
What a good decision by the referee. Unquestionably foul there. There we see the earlier one and the deserved yellow for Barcham. Martin O'Neill decides to referee for a couple of minutes.
Fourth official there, keeping peace, is Steve Tanner, who after last weekend, you may recall, isn't Harry Redknapp's referee of choice.
Not this week, maybe next week.
And that got a touch off Knight. Davies kept it from going behind.
One of the rare occasions where Knight's misjudged a header.
Petrov ran into traffic. Barcham couldn't capitalise. Forward by Bentley. And taken by Brad Friedel, twice an FA Cup semi-finalist with Blackburn. Mulligan. Nutter. Done well at left back. Miller. Crowded out of it.
Once again, the midfield got empty because Miller's made a forward run.
Sidwell. Milner. Young. Gillingham really stretched here. It's Young's cross and Royce's claim. And look how eager Gillingham are to get on with it now.
Well, Miller had made a forward run and he stayed upfield.
Miller for Jackson. Foul by Davis, was it? No, referee didn't think so. Ollie. Clear of Young. And winning a corner.
Great persistence by the tall, wide right player. Putting pressure on.
Look at that, Gillingham 5 corners.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie.
Nutter's take and Friedel's take. This throw is inviting for Young, who's stopped on halfway by Bentley. I think he'll be stretching a point to say that he's prevented a clear goal-scoring opportunity, but he has done damage to Ashley Young. And he's got to expect some disciplinary action because of that.
It was a poor challenge. He hesitated in the first place. I think when he first threw the ball out, he thought he might get that ball. He waited, and then he went at the last second. And of course, by then, Ashley Young had got possession.
Wasn't a dangerous tackle, but it was a cynical one. And it has made the Aston Villa manager extraordinarily angry.
No, it's absolutely yellow because Young really was just too quick for him.
It is just going to be a yellow card that Keith Stroud shows. Just while we're waiting for the free kick, a chance to remind you that after this game, directly after this game, we have the draw for the 4th round of the FA Cup from FA headquarters. Winners of this game will be ball number 32. This evening at 10:45 we have highlights of the 3rd round from this game and the Southampton-Manchester United game of this afternoon. And then on ITV4, 6:30 this evening, it's Guinness Premiership Rugby highlights. Ashley Young needs some care and attention.
I think he wants to come back on, but I'm sure the Villa bench are just considering whether they should take Young off, you know. He's finding it very difficult on this pitch to work the ball and to make opportunities. It's been peripheral to the action.
Petrov playing it in. Ashley Young is back on the field. Petrov. Rio Coca. Nicely worked for Shorey. Davis. Penned in by Milner. Out by Bentley. Sidwell. Villa having their spell now. Quarter of the game to play. Hoisted in by Curtis Davis. Royce has come a long way and made it. Excellent goalkeeping, but he's got to get back. Sidwell caught on it, and the referee has had to stop it so that Zach Knight can get some attention.
Interesting. Simon Royce really gambled there, coming for that one. Mispunched it on that occasion, and someone could have easily volleyed it back into an empty net. He really took a big gamble. He needed a clean punch. He needed to get the ball high and wide, and certainly been under more pressure this half, but mainly from crosses from Villa.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching this, Peter, over the last few minutes. Nothing about the way that Martin O'Neill has approached this game has been anything other than serious, but that seriousness has just turned into bad temper recently. He feels, I think, that Gillingham, in their enthusiasm to close this game out and do their job, are getting a little reckless in the challenges, and Mark Stimson and Martin O'Neill have exchanged some very strong words over the last few minutes. It's getting pretty feisty down here, Peter.
And there are 20 minutes still to go. Thank you, Ned. Davis going head-to-head literally with Mulligan. Keith Stroud is going to have to work to keep this game under control.
The strange thing is, if Gillingham throw those balls or get those passes into feet, then Davis and Knight aren't so able to cope with those balls. But if they throw them into the air, then they're going to head them away all day long. Mulligan is inches shorter than his centre-back marker, and of course Jackson is feet shorter.
Mulligan, Nutter, out by Davis, out by Sidwell, time for Milner to turn. Delfonso one way, Young here the other. Petrov going through the middle. Ashley Young dispossessed by Lewis. What a good game he's had. Weston.
That's good football. Changed the play with a good turn.
Weston. Barcham. Nutter. It's a fabulous cup tie, this. Delfonso. Prepared to run at Bentley. And away from him. Wonderful skill from the youngster. And a shot that fizzed wide.
Much better. The danger for Gillingham is they just open that midfield again and give Villa so much room to break against them. They need to win it today. If they're going to win it, Gillingham, I think it would be very difficult for them to go to the Villa. Villa, by the same token, would like this game out of the way today. They don't want that excess of fixtures, but we've got a change and we expected it.
And it is Delfonso who's been withdrawn and replaced by Marlon Harewood, who has scored home and away against Gillingham for West Ham, home and away against Gillingham for Nottingham Forest, including indeed at the City Ground, a hat-trick for Forest against Gillingham. He has 6 career goals against these opponents. He might be just the thing they need. Young won it, still thought it was fouled, but Milner kept it for Villa. Harewood. Steps King. It's a much more physical cup tie than it was in the first half. Petrov, Gardner, and again Gardner! King's block, and Young let it go behind. Simon King, who used to watch the Ron Atkinson Villa side of the early 90s as he was growing up, who idolised Paul McGrath, whether Paul McGrath sort of self-sacrificed to deny the shot. Shorey's corner, Royce with both fists on it. Milner. Aimed in at Sidwell. Stolen off his toe by Bentley. Knight. Shorey. Knight. Nasty deflection and a touch over from Davis.
Great ball by Knight there into the box to his fellow centre-half, Davis. That's unusual. An assist by a centre-back, and it might have been a goal from a centre-back. Never really managed to direct it.
He is living it. What is it with Martin O'Neill in the FA Cup? European Cups, loads of League Cups, Scottish Cups, Scottish League Cups, league titles, north and south of the border as player and manager. But this is the one that's given him a problem wherever he's been. Ollie. Bobbled up for Royce.
Well, he's had 75 minutes to experience the pitch, the goalkeeper. You're always best advised just to address that ball, just take the pace off the ball, just for the briefest of seconds before delivering it. If you go to hit it first time and it's bobbling, you're always going to be vulnerable to a...
Lewis has been booked for his push on Young. That's 3 of Gillingham's back 4 in the book. And a quarter of an hour still to play. It's Young over the free kick. 2-man Gillingham wall. An awful lot of subplots around the penalty spot. Keith Stroud labouring to keep a lid on things here. It has become fevered, fretful, frenetic. Feisty. Young! Royce beat it out. Gardner beat it back in. Sidwell couldn't get a shot away. Jackson. Now here's Ollie. As Gillingham counter, Miller ahead of him. He ploughed into Shorey. And Young stole it away. Now Sidwell. And Petrov! Bounced out off Bentley. And Lewis away.
Well, it very much looks as though we're going to get a winner one way or the other. Gillingham going flat out for it. They lose possession up the field. Then Villa are fit enough and strong enough and quick enough to break on them. And at the moment, Villa must be fancying their chances a little bit. Gillingham just fading a shade physically. They put in a great effort.
Well, it is on the basis of afternoons just like this that the FA Cup has earned its reputation. Foul on Ashley Young. Penalty Aston Villa. Miller has nowhere to hide. I don't think there's much of a question.
Well, he got into the box, he got on the inside of Lewis in the first place. I don't think Miller really fouled him. I think he came across and at the last second he tried to put his back on the ball. I don't think he faced him up and tripped him. I think he's fortunate to get that decision.
Well, Miller's smile is a rueful one. It may have cost Gillingham their headline day. There's a discussion in the Villa ranks about who takes this penalty, because Gareth Barry has been taking him, of course, and he's not here, and no one's quite sure who the manager wants to take it. Milner appears to be at the front of the queue.
Well, I'm sure if Gareth Barry would have been captain, he would have been striding up and taking that ball with great confidence. But it looks as though it will be Milner. Milner, who made that terrific pass in the first half with Delfonso. Milner, who scored the first goal. Milner, who could probably seal the game.
James Milner on his birthday. Villa back in front. Calmly done by James Milner. And Gillingham must come again with just 12 minutes to play.
It's going to be difficult for them. Just felt they were just running out of energy a little bit, and Young got too easily on the inside of Lewis before the referee decided that Miller had fouled. Beautifully taken spot kick.
James Milner, who hadn't scored for Aston Villa before today, has 2 in a day. There's a problem with the lights, which ain't great. Fortunately, I think we're early enough in the afternoon that we should get through. But some of the lights may be going out on Gillingham's cup dream here. Not that the Raynham men have given up yet. Have the League Two side got one more 10-minute thrust in them? Can Mark Stimson draw something more from them after what has been a superhuman effort? Ashley Young. For the right to be ball number 32 in the 4th round draw of the Eon-sponsored FA Cup in a quarter of an hour or so from now. Make sure you stay with us for that, whichever your team in the pot is going to be. Young penned in. Rio Coca got out. His former club, yesterday's major winners, Nottingham Forest, ball number 10. Liverpool 3, Hartlepool 8. Chelsea or Southend 9, Torquay 15. Arsenal 25, Kettering 26. They're the ones you're waiting for. Young has been fouled again, this time by Nutter.
Yeah, and Young responding to a little bit of barracking from the crowd there. He's done well. If you remember, not so long ago, he was that awful foul against him. I thought he might be going off at that moment. He stayed on the field, he's won him the penalty. Now he's switched to the right-hand side. Very talented player. Hasn't been at his best today, but he's won that vital penalty.
Young's free kick, to which no one could apply a telling touch. Thumped away by Weston, taken in by Jackson. Hooked forward towards Dennis Ollie, out of harm's way by Curtis Davis.
I think Davis and Knight have done very well all afternoon. They've been important players for Villa.
Ollie. What do we think here, David? Miller certainly checks him, doesn't necessarily mean to check him. Miller's finish unquestioned.
Certainly no intent by Miller. I think he realised that Young was going to get round him, and then maybe at the last second he tried to avoid him.
Young for Harewood. Flag is up over there for a push by Marlon Harewood.
It's given them a little bit of hustle and a little bit of muscle as well up the front. Harewood, good substitution by Martin O'Neill. Just that little bit more strength at this moment than Delfonso, a bit more experienced.
3 or 4 minutes time, David. I'll be asking you for your Eon man of the match. Don't give it to us just yet, but there'll be a few good candidates. Not necessarily on the winning side.
No, but many of the Gillingham players have had a really good afternoon, regardless of the final score.
Mulligan. Jackson, Ollie. In by Lewis. And stolen behind for just a goal kick. They're cutting behind the goal who disagree.
Just wonder there if the referee looked briefly over at the lines. It's a big ball in once again. Centre halves get the ball away, but the referee didn't agree with that and gives the goal kick.
Proud man, Mark Stimson. 6 minutes to become prouder. Mulligan on the chase. Got away from Knight, but not from Rio Coca. Aston Villa haven't won any of their last 4 FA Cup matches since a 3-1 fourth round victory over Port Vale at the end of January 2006. They still haven't quite won this one. Keith Stroud giving a free kick Mulligan's way. And it's going to be Nutter over the set piece, with almost everyone committed for Gillingham, necessarily. In by Nutter, header from King. Into the supporters behind. One of these has to happen soon for Mark Stimson. He was manager of Grays, went to 2 trophy finals. As manager of Stevenage, went to another. The Stevenage one was the first ever competitive game at the new Wembley, and he won it. Forward by Gardner, Young on the chase, Bentley backpedaling, Harewood wide, Marlon Harewood, and still Gardner. No hurry now for Villa. Rio Coca, Gardner. Everything in a hurry now from Gillingham. So, David, time with 3 minutes still to play for you to nominate your Eon man of the match.
Oh, massively difficult, because I thought Gillingham have done so well. The skills in midfield of Miller and the Weston, the striking of Jackson. But I'm giving it to the resourceful, hard-working Milner. The goals have probably divided the game. Cool penalty, brilliant early finish. And he made a couple of very good passes. And remember, he did pair up with young Delfinoso, where normally he plays wide. He's played centrally today, and I think he's epitomised the Villa performance. Determined in the face of a very good Gillingham performance.
He hasn't necessarily won. 2.5 minutes to play. Not his free kick. On by Ollie, and well claimed by Friedel. Ollie. Forward by Miller. So calmly dealt with. Going back by Curtis Davis. Mulligan. Ollie has it stolen off his toe by Shorey. Just about into now or never territory for Gillingham.
King, the centre-half, going up into the box. They need to get one in the box now. No short passing now.
In by Miller. Charged down by Jackson. Awkward for Shorey. Hooked away by Davis and carried away by Young, who is the pantomime villain so far as the Gillingham supporters are concerned today, because he won the penalty, which is certainly worthy of debate. Isn't straightforward, which isn't to say wasn't right. It's one of those you can take a view on. Here's Barcham, turning away from Rio Coca. Barcham, good tackle, Gardner.
There's another Gillingham player that's done well. Barcham on the left-hand side. He's made it difficult for Rio Coca all afternoon. I have to admire Gillingham. They've really had a go at this game.
Next weekend's visitors to the Priestfield, Aldershot. There may not be 11,000 in for that. Then again, Villa have a massive derby against West Bromwich Albion. Rio Coca. On by Gardner. Young.
Last chance. Surprising, the goalkeeper plays a short ball.
There are 3 minutes to add on. Curtis Davis Young's free and can seal it here for Villa. Ashley Young, closed down by King. Got away from him in fairness.
Brave defending. At times they're left with 2 against 2, 3 against 3 in these last few minutes. Here's the opportunity. Poor first touch, takes it too wide, and King gets back to deflect it for a corner. Well, if Martin O'Neill does get to Wembley this year, he'll remember this game. It's not been easy at all at any time.
Milner looking to run down the clock. 2 minutes of it still to run down.
Once again, ahead of Zach Knight. All the good work that Milner's done up front, the 2 centre-backs, particularly Zach Knight, have been splendid.
Nutter's throw. Mulligan's nudge. On by Bartram. Knight facing his own goal. Happy to find the stand. The last big effort from Gillingham. Even the goalkeeper is halfway forward just for a throw-in.
He's thinking about it. It may come if they get a corner, I'm sure.
Nutter hurling it in. Harewood with the header. It is a corner, and the goalkeeper's being sent forward, Simon Royce.
Well,
this is it. Kent holds its breath and waits for a hero. All or nothing. In by Miller. Up goes Royce. So did Bentley. Harewood couldn't get rid of it. Eventually he does. It's a throw, and there are 15 seconds to play. Nutter once more, down by Bentley. Up in the air by Curtis Davis. In goes Weston. Milner can run it away, and if he can, Villa will win the tie. Back forward by Lewis. Now Gardner, now the end. It's Villa's day. But the Priestfield is proud. Mark Stimson has every right to be proud. The result was to be expected. The extent to which Villa had to labour for it, perhaps not. And there were times in the second half, after Simeon Jackson had equalised for Gillingham, when the fairy tale was a distinct possibility. But the 1,000+ who travelled from Birmingham have their way. Aston Villa have won an FA Cup tie for the first time in very nearly 3 years. For the very first time during the reign of Martin O'Neill. James Milner, their match winner. The final score by the banks of the Medway: Gillingham 1, Aston Villa 2.